thank you for that. If you are still here and you were in any of these films, please come here and take a seat at the table as we wind up. Our goal really is to have a conversation about the imagining of a beautiful, thriving, peaceful, cooperative community that we can have together. And so, and you have gone on and done the work, not just on stage, but in life. Kwame, please come. Billy Griffin, please come forward. Derek, come forward. Also, Jenny, come forward. This has been amazing work. We just want you to be the first to sit here to create a circle in which we can share that vision. And we also would love for you to join in with this vision, because we can't do anything without community. And I should acknowledge the Executive Vice President of Evergreen State College, who has been here throughout, Dr. Dexter Gordon. And his words will be the last words we hear tonight. So you can come a little closer. We can have an intimate conversation. This is a time for vision creation. Thank you. Yes, a time for give back. You know, Evergreen has its own tradition here in Evergreen, Tacoma, where we speak words of give back to the community, and also just to what we have. And so I'd like you to talk now about your experience as creating this film, but even more so, what is your vision, your desire, your wish for the community that we are reimagining tonight? And we'll start with Derek.
I think y'all hired enough for me, but I'll just keep it, so I'll keep it short and then probably speak. But yeah, now you see, it's a trend now. It almost seems like it's become a trend, but long before it started, I think I even mentioned it probably at some point maybe in the years back, but creating a community where artists can just truly thrive and really tell our stories. Like I think someone said earlier tonight, I know 50 Cent has done it, Tyler Perry did it, he built his studio, and I really want to see, I would love to see something similar out here. We've got plenty of land, plenty of space, plenty of commercial real estate that's not being utilized, and I would love if we had some kind of community hub or some kind of filmmaking hub where people of color can come and tell our stories and create a pipeline of artists of not just being, of working and thriving in the creative community, in the filmmaking industry. That's what I would love to see. I would love to see that, and because there's so many different stories to tell. There are stories that, what do they call it? Oral history. I remember my grandmother was telling me about black women putting men on the moon when I was I was still in school, and I remember thinking that what I was being told was it. What I was being taught in school was it. So I remember just my attitude was like, whatever, it's crap, I'm talking. And then lo and behold, years go by, and when we Hidden Figures comes out, I'm like, my grandma told me about this years ago, and it's like how much history is lost, or that survives just from oral history, the stories that we tell each other. And with that in mind, there's no end to the stories that we can tell and the ways that we can portray them if we have the tools and the resources and the environments necessary to do so. So my dream is kind of that, having a space and just creating a pipeline for the people who be creative in the film industry. What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Hey, good to see you guys again. I want to touch on 2 points. One, the magnificent film that we saw, Wild Dreams. When we think about ancestors witnessing what's going on now, if they could, right? Witnessing us in real time, You know, the question that I think of is, would they be proud, right? What are sort of the thoughts and ideas that would be running through their brains, watching us go through the struggles and setbacks of life currently, then also say how far we've come as individuals, right? I also want to think about potentiality and people being their best self. So Derek here is a director, is a magnificent director. And to think that there were people who worked diligently in order to open doors for him to be able to do what he does. And imagine there's other doors that are locked because of racism, because of poverty, because of issues that could be alleviated, but because they're constrained, people don't get through the doors. So what I would like to see in our community is those doors open.
Yes, yes, yes.
Those doors open so we can be the best community as possible. Yeah.
How y'all doing? My name is Billy Griffin. I was in the film since I've been down. And I think it's what you said is real. You know, we have to keep telling our stories because they ain't gonna tell it, they're gonna try to hide it.
Yes.
I heard a prosecutor say after the film was awarded that the film was propaganda. How is our country's history propaganda, the history of redlining, the history of, you know, the way the East Side was made, the Tacoma, the Hilltop was made, these are real stories, you know, these are real, it's history. It's being made and right before our eyes. We have to continue to, you know, fight the fight of putting it out there. And so it's amazing to see it come back full circle. And I'm sitting up here. My friend is out. He got a life sentence. Never thought he'd come home. And he's home. And not only is he home, but he's continuing to be community builder and a change maker, and it's making all of us, you know, us older ones, do the same thing. And we are the ones to do it, and we have to continue to do it. And I thank Evergreen for teaching me that, because before I came to the Bridge program, all I knew was hood stuff. Being in the hood, I wanted to be in the hood. I didn't think I'd make it to be the age of 20. I joined the gang when I was 13. I was ready to die. I was ready to go. I was ready to prove my worth to something that didn't love none of us. We were made to destroy our communities. And it's real, and it's happening all over again. And if we ain't careful, and we ignore what's happening in the administration and in the politics and mass media worldwide, we don't pay attention, history gonna run over us. And we can't let that happen. So, thank you.
I would say I think we did a really good job in our film showing how community comes together when it comes to sentencing. We are using that film, we're going to be showing that film up in the Peninsula in July with the Peninsula Prison Project. We're going to show that film again at the big Access to Justice Summit that they have in Yakima every year. And we're really showing judges and prosecutors that we are welcoming for transformed incarcerated individuals back into our communities with our community support. However, I think with our next film, and I'll let David elaborate a little more, I think our next film we're going to try to do something where we show prosecutors and defense attorneys and judges that and victims advocacy groups that excessive sentencing does not heal our communities. So that's going to be our next one.
What brought me to this point? I was a criminal defense lawyer for 30 years, and you why it does the things that it does, and what are the myths the system is based on. And one of the things I'm trying to do with Ginny and others is to bust some of these myths. One of them, and I think you've heard a lot about this tonight, is the myth in this country, that we all know is false, is the rugged individual who rises and falls solely on their own gumption. You know, I mean, geez, come on. And the other, there are a couple of others. One that I talked about in the movie is the myth of monstrosity. If people do a bad thing, they're a bad person. They're a bad person forever. And the movies that are making it, are showing those false. And the third myth that we're going to address in more detail in our next movie is this idea that the most effective response to broken people is to throw them in prison. That's the only way to keep us safe. That's the best way to keep us safe. And we've known for years now that simply isn't true. And so we want to deal with that in our next movie, to show the alternatives to throwing people in prison. The alternatives that will not only heal the community, because a lot of people don't care about that. So we're going to tell them this works. This makes recidivism lower. This helps victims more. Throwing people in prison doesn't help victims. And so there's so many things that will help victims, that will help heal the people that have done wrong, treatment, restorative justice, vocational education, regular education, academic education, so many things, and we're going to try to show that's more effective. And that's what we're going to work on. We're going to work on busting those myths. And so that's what I'm doing.
Thank you so much, and thank you for telling the story that will be there for perpetuity because you have put it on film, and that is so significant. Maybe a word or two give back about not only what you've heard today, but also about creating this kind of community. Anyone who would like to contribute to that? Anyone?
I will.
Yes.
You know, as we speak about all of these things that are going on, and we look back and we're talking about telling stories, and we're talking about myths of, it becomes a myth where you don't want to believe that it actually happened.
Right.
Then it's a story. It's a myth. But let me tell you, and let me say this for everybody to be clear, history is a current event.
Yeah.
What happened then is happening now. Nothing has changed. We come through this world with rose-colored glasses, and we see what they want us to see. But when you all those veils and all those tales and stories of the great men who rushed Mount Rushmore and all those things, you find out us up underneath them did all the work and continue to work.
That's right.
So please always know that you ain't experiencing nothing different than your ancestors experienced. And so it is now time to change it. It's time to change it. But what the ancestors, and I want you to know this, that they are sitting in this room with us.
That's right.
They're not somewhere out in the ethers.
That's right.
You're living in the house that they built.
That's right.
Your ancestors are all with you. You are living in the house that they built.
Yes.
You are, when you wake up every morning, you are rocked. The sun has risen. It has fallen at nightfall, and it rose when you woke up. Every morning, this happens. So this is not a myth, and we are not mythological people. We are ancestors returned. And as all the ancestors that have passed on, they say, you know, you are a human being. You are no, not a human being. Let me get this on the other way around. You are a
Spiritual.
spirit, you know, a divine spirit having
Human
a
experience.
human experience
Right.
here. You know, we have to complete some things. So, you're still on the battlefield. Buck up. It cannot stop. It cannot stop. You have to tell our stories. It's in your DNA. You gotta tell the stories. Because nobody would go to jail if there wasn't no need for what? Fixing roads, free labor, you know, slavery wouldn't have, you know, enslavement wouldn't have happened. And that's what that prison system is.
13.
It's enslavement happening all over again. And it's only for the poor, it ain't for the rich. So I'm
Say
gonna-
that.
I'm
Say
gonna
that.
leave it at that.
Can I say something?
I'm just going to play a John Henry Clark here.
There you go.
You know, John Henry Clark was an amazing historian. I mean, an amazing historian. And he would listen to conversations. And you'd think he was asleep, because he was, you know, like that. But all of a sudden, he hears something and he want to tweak a little bit. And he kind of jump up and say, and now my sister, let me add this. So I just want to add this. Everything has changed. I mean, when I started doing activist work, I had a Xerox machine. I had a typewriter that I could barely see the keys. And when I wanted to talk with the people, I got out, put my shoes on, and I walked down the street and I knocked on doors. You all are making films. You are on videos. You are not just walking down your neighborhood. You're walking through the world. You know, I was talking about let's raise the rent. Brother here's talking about let's give peace to the whole world. God named us the peace ambassador. You know, I mean, I want to say that I want to give back to you all because you give me hope. Right? You give me know that we have involved. You let me know that the next generation has it in hand, eager to move with it, eager to play. I mean, I loved what you did in the film because I got all those hope. I don't know what I'm saying. I thought the guys in the office were going to do something really bad to you. I thought we were going to have a get out kind of situation. You were going to open the door to that club and there were going to be vampires in there and eat them up and stuff like that. So you lost me a little bit until I got, oh yeah, the ancestors there. The ancestors are heaven. But I was reading Little Lulu and you were doing complex thought manipulations, navigations in your video. So I want us to know that it has not been in vain. The stuff that the Panthers did has been institutionalized, you know. But you all are coming and revitalizing. You know, you are bringing back, as the ancestors said, the Winnie the Sioux, the events of the first time. And we thank you. And so we thank you because, as my sister says here, we have to keep struggling, but we are winning. We are winning. We are not going backwards. We are not going backwards. When the orange one walks around the land, we make up a new dance. All right? And that's who we are. You know, so I thank you. I thank you for picking up that mantle. That baton in the relay race, and we're running it, and be prepared when your time comes to pass that mantle to the next generation. So, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I just wanted to, the sister said that this has been going on for a long time. Well, that was was hard for me to understand that in the late 1980s and early 90s when it seemed like drugs and guns just fell out of the sky in the Hilltop area. It was hard for me to understand. But then there was a lady, an older lady that lived down the street, and she said, "You're not going to believe what I see out my window." And we didn't have cameras back then. We didn't have cell phones. I said, "Well, tell me what you see." And she said, "There's a white van. Looks like it's from McCord or from, what's the other one?
Lewis.
Or Lewis." And she said, "And these two men are unloading guns from the back and giving them to our kids." And so, yes, everything is true. Like it was a setup. It was a government conspiracy, and they did it to lock up our children. I asked my son when he went to prison. I said, "Is it true they make license?" I was so naive. "Is it true they make license plates in prison?" He said, "Mom, we make everything in prison." And they got my son's best years from the age of 18 to the age of 42. He made license plates, he made everything in prisons for less than $1 an hour. It is definitely slavery.
Wow. My. And you know, Maxine Waters made that comment and was really persecuted for that. And she said drugs and guns were delivered in our communities, and she was really persecuted. But actually, in actual fact, there's some truth to that. So thank you. Just thank this panel here. Excellent work. And please sit down now so we can recreate our audience for the final words. And you know, we always have the final words from our executive vice president because he sits so carefully and listens so carefully to everything that's going on that we believe his final words are going to summate the entire event of tonight. And I just thank you for your steadfastness of being here for these last 4 hours. And I now give the mic to Dr. Dexter Gordon.
Thank you very much. Dean Tate Aronga. I know we've been here a while, but I know you have more energy for this energetic leader who has led us throughout the day. So let me try that again. Dean Tate Aronga. All right, so I'm going to honor the fact that you've given us this gift of your time. You've given us this gift of your day. And so we want to appreciate that. And Derek, Kwame, Billy, Ginny, and Dave, thank you for the gift of your creativity. Thank you for the gift of your imagination. Thank you for understanding that our world is a set of stories, and we choose from those stories constantly pieces that make our lives work. And out of those stories, we recreate ourselves and recreate our lives. And that is why the challenges that the Panthers faced, and the challenges that we face, and the challenges that our ancestors faced before them were not daunting to them, because they knew that the available stories of the world were ours. And so our imagination took us today into the prisons, into our dreams, into our history, into our culture. And it is out of these pieces that the younger ones who follow us, who follow Dr. Joy Hardiman, will take her vision and her dreams and move them from Xerox and typewriters to films across the world, to buses that show us how we can today you've been part of a film festival, a festival of imagination, a festival of creativity, a festival of storytelling that recreates for us our lives in ways that make us know that we are not going anywhere but up.
That's right.
Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Dexter Gordon. Yes. My, we've had a nice evening together. You know, what else would we be doing? Sitting in the hot weather, watching television, but we were here and we were able to really come together and be together to fellowship. So I thank you all for your tenacity, for being able to stay here for the evening. As you leave, let's leave with continuing to think about this community as we move forward, and how we can continue to build this peace that we talk about. And thank you so much for staying to the end. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Salma. We did it. Wherever you are, we got this mic working. Oh, I love you. Well.